Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zhang here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Ranked, where I climb the online Series 12 ladder and provide live commentary as I go. Today we're playing a couple of more games with the Barraskewda Kyogre Zacian team that we featured in the previous episode. This was, of course, the team that won the February International Challenge, a best-of-1 online Wi-Fi tournament with over 300,000 participants. Built and piloted by Marco Fiero, one of the best players in VGC in the whole world right now. You can find him linked down in the description below on YouTube and Twitter, and there's also a rental and paste for the team if you want to try it out yourself. So yeah, let's just jump right into today's episode. Thanks so much as always for watching. If you enjoyed, please share your support by leaving a like. I'd really appreciate it. And question of the day, we obviously got some big Pokemon news today, so I'm curious what you thought about today's presents. Spoilers alert, but yeah, I was not expecting Gen 9 to be announced this early on. It makes sense for Gen 9 to come out in the fall, given that it's basically the classic 3-year cycle for a new generation. But yeah, I can't believe, like, to me, it's even wild thinking that we've been doing Sword and Shield content or playing Sword and Shield for like 2.5 years at this point. So I'm very eager for Gen 9, but we still have a long time to go before then. So yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and let's get started. Okay, for this one, we've got Zacian plus Dialga, Rillaboom, Whimsicott, Thundurus plus Grimmsnarl. Barraskewda is interesting because it can actually still hit almost everything on my opponent's team for super effective. Rillaboom's obviously a little bit scary as well as the Grimm. They don't have weather control, so I could just lead Kyogre Barraskewda immediately and then switch an Indeedee in the back. Kartana's not a bad max option, but I still think Barraskewda is quite good here. So honestly, I'm down for Kyogre plus Barraskewda with Indeedee plus Zacian in the back. The idea behind the Indeedee is it prevents my opponent from really getting too much off with the Rillaboom or the Grimmsnarl. And Barraskewda here can Max Quake Zacian, Max Airstream Rillaboom, Max Airstream Whimsicott, Max Quake Dialga. Dialga is probably the main problem here, but if Trick Room doesn't go up, for example, then Dialga will just get outsped by everything. Indeedee for Psychic Terrain plus the Psychic Seed with Follow Me is also pretty valuable for us here. And the Kyogre here is mainly used to 1, set up the raid, and then 2, also pressure Zacian for damage. I think you could definitely go with the Kartana route in this game. The reason I don't love it is because it has a pretty bad matchup into the Thundurus on my opponent's side, whereas like Life Orb Max Geyser in Rain can potentially just one-shot Dynamax Thundurus. And if that alone can't KO, then that plus a Water Spout from Kyogre certainly can. So then like things can be a little bit weird if they go like Thundurus Rillaboom, but then I can just pivot out into the Indeedee as I was talking about. They're going to go with Grimm plus Dialga. Now, normally this feels like you're angling for something like a Fake Tears. You could go for a Scary Face as well, although Barraskewda would actually still be faster. Could also be Trick, for example, on a Barraskewda immediately. So, one play I could make here is to just pivot Kyogre out into the Indeedee immediately, because this sets up the Psychic Terrain, so it prevents any of your Prankster attacks from going off. Normally on these teams, I would expect Grimmsnarl to have Thunder Wave, Scary Face, Fake Tears, Fake Out, and potentially screens as well. We definitely don't want to run. That is not what I meant to do. So I'm honestly down to pivot Kyogre out into Indeedee here, just to prevent any shenanigans. And then like Max Quake here is pretty good because it gives me a special defense boost, right? And a special defense boost goes a long way in this matchup because it means Dialga won't one-shot us with something like a Max Wormwind. Now, if you're my opponent, you could consider switching Dialga out into, say, Thundurus, but then you risk just Kyogre Water Spouting both of your Pokemon here, so we'll see. Given these two, I would expect Dialga to max turn 1, I would expect Rillaboom in the back, and I would expect Zacian to be their final Pokemon. So Rillaboom is still going to be the primary nuisance for us to deal with. That's not going to be super fun, but Grimm is going to be the one switching out, okay. And it's going to be Rillaboom coming in for that slot, I mean, that's okay. I can still Follow Me next turn. And the thing is, by bringing Rillaboom out this early, I can pressure you with just a Max Airstream the next turn. So, not the switch I was expecting. I'll take it, I guess. Ideally, Dialga doesn't max here, and Barraskewda just one-shots with the Max Quake, but we'll see. Okay. So got Dynamax Barraskewda out now. Dialga plus Zacian also just an interesting restricted duo. Haven't really seen that too much. Yeah, they're gonna max. There's like very little reason to not max turn 1 unless you're Trick Rooming. Especially because given that team composition, the Dialga or the Thundurus max almost every time, right? And if you're leading Grim plus Dialga, it's highly unlikely you have Thundurus in the back, in my opinion, because you want Rillaboom in the matchup and you want Zacian, obviously. So, interesting case where it's like just with my opponent's lead, we can deduce what our opponent's 4 most likely are. Okay, so here's Max Quake. Ooh, very good damage. That's actually a 2-hit KO. Now, they obviously can go for Wormwind here, and that will decrease my attack. Staying in with Kyogre wouldn't have gotten us too much. Like, a Water Spot there wouldn't have KO'd anyway. So I expect Wormwind here. Yep, onto Barraskewda most likely. No, they target the Entity slot. Okay, that's a pleasant surprise. We'll take that. Okay. Worried about Miracle Seed, Rillaboom just gliding to KO Barraskewda here. My attack is decreased now, so I have to obviously keep that in mind. I don't have Max Guard on Barraskewda, so it's not like I can really switch it out here. Like, I'm honestly down to go for a... Just like, do I expect Glide to KO here? If you're Miracle Seed or Banded, maybe. I want to just go for Helping Hand, Airstream, and try to KO the Rillaboom immediately. But I think we're probably better off just going for Follow Me here. Yeah. And I will just Airstream here into Rillaboom. We'll see how tanky Rillaboom is. Maybe even after the Wormwind we can still KO. So there's Follow Me. It's going to be Glide into the Entity slot. Yep. I wonder if we can survive that. Oh my gosh, we do. Okay, that's a pleasant surprise as well. So Barraskewda will get a max Airstream off, and we will just fall short of the knockout, unfortunately, but that's okay. Dialga will most likely go for another max Wormwind here. Yep. But Indeedee has definitely provided a lot of value for me in this game. You can see how strong Rillaboom is, right? It's like just with grassy terrain, like even if I bring in the Zacian right now, my opponent can still just glide Barraskewda with relatively low cost, right? So my main question is whether or not they can one-shot my Barraskewda right now. I can bring out Zacian. I mean, I risk just getting one-shot by a Max Quake on Dialga, so I actually feel forced to Sacred Sword that slot. Not even sure that's a KO. But just Sacred Sword and then just Airstream here onto the Rillaboom slot. So it'll be close. The question here first is, does a Rillaboom glide KO Barraskewda? Second question is, does my Sacred Sword KO Dialga? Barraskewda hangs on with 4 HP. Wow, that is so clutch. Okay. And that's such a big deal because it means I get rid of the Rillaboom, which otherwise is such a big problem for the Kyogre that I have in the back. However, if Sacred Sword doesn't knock out Dialga here and then Dialga gets a Max Quake off, that's still pretty bad. But, I mean, it's at 50% or just under 50%. It'll be kind of close. If we get the knockout, though, I've gotten a speed boost on a Zacian now as well. So I've positioned Zacian to outspeed their Zacian in the back, which is obviously really valuable. Sacred Sword does get the knockout. Beautiful. Okay, perfect. So this is really solid for Barraskewda just overall. We got a lot of mileage off with it. And you can see why I wanted to prioritize Indeedee in this matchup, right? They had Grimmsnarl and Rillaboom, and the combination of those is just kind of annoying because of, yeah, the utility that you can get out of it. This is still not over, though. I think the Grimmsnarl here can still go for a Fake Out, can still pressure me with the Thunder Wave or a Scary Face, for example. It's funny, I was talking so confidently about how surely my opponent would have had Zacian as their final one, but they actually brought Whimsicott and Grimmsnarl. That's kind of baffling to me, to be honest. Does that give them a better chance of winning now? I guess if you have Energy Ball and Whimsicott, it's interesting. I'm just going to Blade into Whim here. Is it fine to click Water Spout here? I'd actually rather Origin Pulse in this position, just because I don't want to get hit by like a Thunder Wave or Scary Face into an Energy Ball, but yeah, they end up forfeiting. I'm really surprised they didn't bring Zacian there. Like, I get the reasoning, but it's not like my team is that good in his... I mean, like, Zacian can take, like, a Kyogre Water Spout, right? Even if you have no bulk. Well, I guess they don't know that I'm Choice Scarf rather than, you know, like a special attack boosting item, for example. But, yeah, I just feel like Whimsicott, Grimmsnarl, and well, I guess Rillaboom and Dialga, like they were just relying on both of those for damage. But yeah, I just didn't really see what Whimsicott brought at all to that battle. And like, you know, I was talking about how a super confident Zacian would be in the back, but it's like if it's not Zacian, it just makes it so much easier for us because they have so much less damage output. Even if they had Zacian in the end game there, like I had a speed boost on my Zacian and we're Scarf Kyogre, so both of my opponent's Pokemon are outsped by my Pokemon. Then the key question is like the Grimmsnarl moveset. If you're like Babiri Berry, for example, or Focus Sash, I don't even know with Babiri you can survive +1 Behemoth Blade. So then it's a question of like Grim maybe having, like you could fake out Kyogre and play rough into like Kyogre, and then if Behemoth Blade doesn't one-shot their Grimmsnarl because they've got a Babiri or a Focus Sash, then it's a 2v1 Grim plus Zacian, they can T-Wave double up onto me. So then I guess the other play is actually instead of Behemoth Blading Grimmsnarl, just targeting their Zacian always. Because even I'm not going to KO them, but then they shouldn't KO me either. So yeah, but I'm just really surprised they didn't bring Zacian, but we'll take it, right? Like even in the worst case of them bringing it, I feel like we were set up for success in that end game. But what was huge here was Barraskewda surviving that Grassy Glide with just a couple of HP points. So yeah, let's keep things going here. Next match here, and we've got a pretty classic Zacian Kyogre team with Landorus, Whimsicott, Rillaboom, and Incineroar. I feel like I should probably be maxing Kartana here. It's a pretty good matchup for it, given its matchup in a Kyogre. Not bad in a Zacian either. If you're my opponent... My opponent's team is interesting, actually, because Landorus feels like by far the best max option. Like, Kyogre can be. I'm thinking like Kyogre isn't Choice Scarfed here because you don't really have another good max option. So that's interesting. The thing is, Barraskewda is still quite powerful here. Like, it can one-shot almost everything on my opponent's team still. The problem is slotting it in. If I were my opponent, I would go Rillaboom. I guess what's interesting is if you go Rillaboom, Landorus, Kyogre, Zacian, you don't bring out Whimsicott to set up Tailwind, which obviously can hurt your positioning a little bit. Kartana getting intimidated is not super fun. I mean, Kartana objectively feels like the better answer here, but I honestly still want to play towards Barraskewda. Okay, honestly, I'm down for Barraskewda, Kyogre, Indeedee, and Zacian again. I think the safer route in this game is probably Whimsicott, Kartana, Zacian, and Kyogre. Go with those four instead, but one, you know, this is the first time I've really used Barraskewda in Series 12, and really just in the last, I can't even remember when, if we featured it at all. I feel like we have, but like really towards the beginning of Sword and Shield. So, just want to understand the Pokemon a little bit better, and they're going to go with Incin and Rillaboom. Okay. I mean, I'll take it. Turn 1 is already really interesting. Because I can obviously pivot either Pokemon out into Indeedee and then attack with the other. If you're going with this lead, like, I didn't think Incin would come out here, but it makes sense if you're trying to beat the Kartana on my end, right? So the play I honestly lean towards is switching Barraskewda out here because we're intimidated, going out into Indeedee here. And just launching a Water Spout. I could go for Origin Pulse instead, because with Water Spout, if I get hit by Grassy Glide here, yes, I'll change the terrain, but Glide will still go off after Water Spout, meaning my next turn is a little bit awkward. I just don't love the idea of potentially missing here. I guess even if we miss, though... Yeah, honestly, I'm going to go for Water Spout here. I don't want to risk missing. I think we just have such a strong start here in terms of lead matchups that a miss would set me back significantly. Okay, so let's see. This is why, like, the Indeedee on this team is so important. If not, you just get absolutely crushed by Rillaboom. But it's like I can now actually bring Kyogre, Barraskewda and actually feel okay, which is so cool. Interesting. That's probably a Rillaboom max, right? I mean, that makes sense, because if you're not bringing Landorus, it's like, what else can you really max here? But I'll take it. Like, even if I just get a Water Spout off, then I just bring in Barraskewda, I can just go for a Helping Hand max Airstream, or actually just Zacian and Behemoth Blade into Rillaboom. Unless Incin is Protect here. Okay, they don't have Protect. That's good. And Water Spout alone just, yeah, one-shots Incin there, which is beautiful. So maybe Kyogre is Scarfed in the back. I'm still not sure about that. They're going to go for the G-Max Drum Solo into the Indeedee slot. Beautiful. That doesn't even KO us. I actually wouldn't have minded a knockout there, because if you KO me, I actually just bring in Barraskewda and I just max Airstream Water Spout. I don't think you have any counterplay to that. Although now I can just go for Follow Me Water Spout or Helping Hand Water Spout. Either is fine. Kyogre comes back out. I also have Psychic Terrain up here, but I have to assume Rillaboom's going to outspeed me here. You can just Water Spout into Drum Solo on Kyogre. I guess I could protect NDD here, right? Yeah, I'm actually kind of down for that. Because I don't think Helping Hand actually gets me any extra damage that I need here anyway. So I'd rather just sacrifice Kyogre to get a free switch in into the Barraskewda. Okay. Really nice damage from Water Spout there. They're going to go for Origin Pulse, okay. It's the correct play. I mean, you don't want to go for Water Spout if I'm going to get a big amount of chunk damage onto you before you faint. The instant lead just, yeah, ended up benefiting us favorably here. By the way, the reason I didn't just want to sacrifice the Indeedee in that position is because I didn't want my opponent to then just have 2 knockouts, because then you can switch Rillaboom out and then bring it back in and then just have a way to KO my Barraskewda immediately, and that's really bad for me in my opinion. I'd rather go into Barraskewda here, I think. Yeah. Okay, here's the other thing. My opponent's last Pokemon should be Zacian, right? Right now, you can't change the terrain unless you switch Rillaboom out this turn specifically. So I'm down to go for a Follow Me here. I wonder if Life Orb Max Geyser here KOs Kyogre in the rain. Because I could just Max Airstream into Rillaboom as well. But Rillaboom can contemplate switching out into Zacian in this position. Yeah, I'm down for the Geyser onto the Kyogre. I kind of feel like it will KO with the rain up. And they do go for the switch. Yep, that's the correct play. If you lose Rillaboom there to a Max Airstream, I should just win the game immediately. So, this is the one play that will keep my opponent in it. Okay. If I KO the Kyogre, though, with Geyser, then the next turn I can just Follow Me with the Indeedee, preventing you from KOing me with Grassy Glide, and then I can just Airstream into Rillaboom, right? So, yeah. The tricky thing is always, yeah, just don't know the item on Rillaboom. Okay, we're going to go for Follow Me. I wonder if Geyser would have KO'd Rillaboom. Actually, probably would have, so I could have targeted that slot as well. I'm just mainly curious if this gets a KO onto Kyogre. I'm honestly fine with it not KOing, but Barraskewda is so strong. It does get the knockout. Okay. So this allows me to my opponent to change the terrain now. But like I said, I can just go for Follow Me. Yeah. I think Zacian here maybe goes for Protect. You could just Glide Behemoth Blade as well. I'm max speed though, so even in the worst case, like, I have a 50-50 on winning just off, even if we speed tie here. So like, I'm down to just Follow Me here. And go for an Airstream onto Rillaboom. Okay, they just go for Fake Out, that's fine. I didn't Geyser the Zacian there because I didn't want Zacian to Protect and then Rillaboom to Glide the Indeedee and then I just get KO'd the next turn. And it's like, Behemoth Blade might not one-shot us here, right? And so, Airstream on a Rillaboom just covers for pretty much every option. And like I said, even in the worst case, I've still got max speed Zacian in the back. So even if you one-shot my Barraskewda here, it's honestly still okay. It's just scary because then maybe it's a speed tie, but being Jolly Max is quite nice. Barraskewda has been so clutch today. Hanging on with like sub 10 HP in both games. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Now, yeah, I think like both games were winnable even if it didn't survive. Like I said, in this endgame, it would have just been Zacian against Zacian. I know I'm max speed here, and that, you know, favors you typically in like matchups where your opponent might be bulkier. Zacian here just protects, right? Yeah. So we can just Quake. Quake into Blade is always going to be a KO, even if they end up protecting this turn. So, yeah. Really clutch survival there, but like I said, even if they get the one-hit KO on a Barraskewda there, like, that was basically the worst-case scenario other than us surviving. Even if they get the KO there, it's still Zacian versus Zacian in the end game. So, yeah. What I really didn't want to do was Geyser into a Zacian Protect, like I mentioned. Then the Rillaboom KOs NDD, and then you can just glide Barraskewda the next turn. That seems like a kind of a nightmarish scenario. So, yeah, but either way, today has been the reign of Barraskewda. And you can actually see, if I had brought Kartana out in that last game, they had Incineroar, right? So especially if I lead Kartana, for example, it's actually kind of awkward. The Rillaboom max was pretty smart just to get lots of damage off, and, you know, they obviously didn't have too many max options to commit to on that team. Kyogre actually may have been a better option just because Rillaboom is better off not maxing, so you can go for Grassy Glides and switch out for terrain control. But, yeah. Either way, I'm just amazed by Barraskewda hanging on with just this sliver of health in both games. But yeah, it shows how clutch it can be even without any HP investment. So let's look for another one. Last one here, and we've got Zamazenta Zygarde. I think I played against this team before, but I don't remember if I ended up recording it. It was a really nasty combination where it was like Coil Rest Zygarde with Yache Berry, which I was really caught off guard by. And so you basically make Zygarde almost impossible to knock out. Now, the Whimsicott here is Encore, so that's really important in potentially shutting down Zygarde. Trick Room is scary. They don't have great weather control, so like Kyogre plus Barraskewda here actually is just really strong, I feel like. Kyogre, Barraskewda. It was, if I remember correctly, it was like Coil, Sleep Talk, Rest, and 1,000 Arrows. So I feel like we have a pretty good matchup here. It's interesting because I don't really need Whimsicott. Whimsicott's just interesting to me in this one because of Encore. Kyogre, Barraskewda, Zacian, for sure. They have no water resistances or immunity, so I feel like we could really take advantage of that. Kartana? Invidious Psychic Seed. It does give me Follow Me. Yeah, I'm down for Whimsicott here. Like, the idea of encoring the Zygarde is intriguing to me. Maybe it's a different team, but, like, how many Zygarde Zamazenta teams are really out there right now, right? So I don't know if it's the same player I ran into on the ladder previously, but either way, this was definitely one of the most interesting teams that I played against because I wasn't expecting its moveset at all. And basically, it indexes very heavily on just fully enabling Zygarde. Yeah, we're going to see Zygarde and Zama come out immediately. Okay. I mean, I'm okay with this, right? Because I can just max Barraskewda immediately and just go Geyser Water Spout turn one. I can max... Oh, but you know what? I think the Zamazenta here probably has Wide Guard. If you have Wide Guard, because of the defense boost, that's actually pretty interesting. If it is Wide Guard, Ice Beam, if it is Yache Zygarde, like I mentioned, I don't know. I'm kind of still down to just Ice Beam Zygarde max here and Geyser, honestly. Because even if you are Yache Berry, another Ice Beam will just KO you. So, initially I was like, well, Water Spell's just so good for us here, but I think Zamazenta most likely carries Wide Guard here, but that's okay. I guess you can Howl into a max Quake on turn one. That's pretty scary, honestly. But like I said, I don't expect Zygarde to have Protect here. And if they don't max, we can just nuke it immediately. But yeah, they're going to max. Smart. I could have just gone for Geyser Thunder into Zamazenta. Try to get a knockout onto that immediately. I don't love that idea, though. I'm just curious what Zamazenta goes for on turn one, right? Because like I said, I expect Wide Guard. Oh, it doesn't Wide Guard, though. It's actually just going for an attack. Okay. Nicely done. You can see how bulky Zygarde is. Wow. Geyser, it's not Yache Berry though, but that means it's probably Weakness Policy, and that's not good for me either. Okay, so I've seen 2 variants of this team then now. The first one I ran into was Yache. Oh, they just go for Coaching though. Okay. I mean, they're at +3 attack now. They can Max Quick me for a KO immediately. That's really scary. That is, it just speaks to Zygarde's bulk though, right? Like, how impressive is that? They actually end up targeting Kyogre though. Okay. You're at +1 defense. You are going to transform forms now. But I can just bring out Zacian, right? It's just this Zygarde it ended up being policy rather than the Yache Berry. Although that might actually be better for us, honestly. Oh, but you can Max Guard. So you can Max Guard and then switch out into Comfey to heal. That's what I don't like the idea of. Man, I think I'd rather go into Zacian here, right? This next turn's interesting. Like, my opponent's team basically is all in on Zygarde. Like, I could so easily double up on Zygarde. Like, the problem is if I read into the Comfey switch in, and they just Max Quick me, right? That's a disaster. I have a defense boot, but I would think Blade into Geyser still KOs even if they heal up the Zygarde. So, I'm down to just double Zygarde here. They do go for Max Guard, but they don't switch Zamazenta out, which I'm okay with, because I can just make the same play next turn. Yeah, as long as Comfey doesn't come in to heal it up, I'm okay with that. They're going to go for Coaching. Okay. I wonder if Sacred Sword is better than here. Just ignore the defense boosts. I actually don't know what's stronger here between +1 Blade. They're at +2 defense. I mean, Behemoth Blade just has same type attack bonus and their Dynamax. I would still think it's stronger, but we'll see. Like, I think Zygarde might actually survive this double up thanks to the boosts. Oh, they might just be going for a double protect here. Oh, Clefairy for Friend Guard. Yeah. That's smart. I don't think I'm KOing here. Look how little damage we're going to do. This is so sick. Such a sick combo. Oh, well done. Well done. Yeah, I think this Zygarde team is like... I even kind of knew what was coming my way. I just wasn't sure if it was Policy or Yache. Yeah, Friend Guard was absolutely essential to getting that. And then it's like I was also worried about Coaching on turn 1, but I could have ended up just going for a Water Spout, right? Or sorry, not Coaching, Wide Guard. I could have just Geysered or Quaked onto the Zamazenta slot as well. But I was afraid about Zamazenta protecting on turn 1 as well. Very nicely done. Okay, do I really have any opportunities to win at this point? Not really, I don't think. Friend Guard plus the Zygarde is just so deadly. I guess, though, if I had just ended up doubling on the Zamazenta last turn... Like, sorry, not last turn, the previous turn. Get a knockout onto that. Yeah, I just, what would I have done differently here? I don't think I'd bring Cortana. I think our Pokemon choices were fine. I guess we just try to stall out Zygarde's max? I just really hate clicking Water Spout when there's the threat of Wide Guard. But the Coaching made all the difference, right? That single defense boost helps the Zygarde survive for so much longer. Now you can just obviously go for Follow Me into 1,000 Arrows. So, unless for some reason you botch that, I don't really have an out here, right? So cool. So cool. Okay, well played. Yep, they just go for Follow Me. I guess I could always crit liquidation into a crit energy ball. How much does that do? Oh, that was actually a KO. They are at +2 special defense though. Man, if I actually had Moonblast here, we would have been good. But I don't think this KOs. I'm dying to know the EV spread on that Zygarde. If we had Moonblast here, I actually think we had a pretty good shot at winning the game. Well, actually, yeah, with Moonblast, I can also do more to Zamazenta. But yeah, this team basically is like all in on Zygarde, right? You have all the support for it. You make it very difficult to knock out. With Comfey plus Zygarde, normally I assume weakness policy, but the last time I ran into this combo, they had Yache Berry on Zygarde. So I don't know if it's yeah, I think those are the two main variants you should expect. And now you're gonna see they can just heal up the Zygarde with the Floral Healing. And matchups like this matchup is so frustrating because it's like you're always so close to KOing the Zygarde, but it's just so bulky. So I'm so curious on the EV spread on it. Okay, so let's think about this. We actually get a crit here, but that's a little bit late. Had I just knocked out Zamazenta the turn that Zygarde went for the obvious max guard, well, then they would just be able to bring in the Comfey and heal up, right? I just didn't factor in Clefairy switching in for Friend Guard, but I don't really have too much counterplay to that either. I think I didn't realize just how important turn 1 in this game would have been. I think partially because I was expecting Kyogre to just get one shot, and the policy was what really did me in there, right? So, like, I could have clicked Water Spout into Geyser, just eliminate the Zamazenta immediately, then you'll get a coaching boost. I still get a Spout off into Zygarde, but the threat of the turn 1, like, the difference between coaching and Wide Guard is a huge call to make, and it worked out pretty well for them. So, yeah, I think I also kind of tunnel vision kind of hard on them being Yache Berry, because the last time I went against this composition, it had a Yache Berry, but yeah, this Zygarde team is really interesting because, like, it's so reliant on enabling Zygarde, but you have enough bulk between Zygarde's incredible bulk. Between the policy, you have enough damage, actually. And then you have Comfey as well as Clefairy for really good support as well. So, yeah, the smarter approach may have been to just knock out everything around Zygarde, but then it's still pretty scary. And what makes that team really cool is you can like boost your special defense immediately via Max Quake, and then you also have coaching to boost your defense and attack immediately. So it's like Zygarde gets boosted very quickly. And I think that team is a very different take on how you can play in this format, but it's one of the strongest ways you can run Zygarde at the moment. So I wonder if there's a rental running around for that at the moment, because it's not the first time I played against it. But like I said, this is also not the first variant I've played at this point, with Yache and Policy both being on the table for items on Zygarde. So yeah, that's going to be it for this one, though. I had a lot of fun with this Barraskewda team, so thank you to Marco Fiero once again for providing the team. Please go check him out, linked in the description below. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Don't forget to answer the question of the day, and I'll see you all next time. All right, peace.